Anaheim 1. Wow, what a night as we welcome you to the SMX Insider post-race show from the season opener, both for the Monster Energy Supercross Championship and the Super Motocross World Championship. And Jet Lawrence basically picked up where he left off, both in Supercross and in Pro Motocross, being out in front and being the winner. And in the 450 class, yep, another champ leading the way in Eli Tomac in what was just an incredible victory that we will talk a little bit more about throughout the course of this SMX Insider post-race show. Hi folks, Lee Diffie along with the GOAT, Ricky Carmichael. Hey, A1 is A1 is A1, but tonight was even more special.
I'm going to tell you right now, that 450 main event was a doozy. A lot of fun to watch. And my overall take from it all is if Eli Tomac spotted those guys, what he did, and still came back and won, they got their hands full. It's really just incredible. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop with Eli Tomac, and it's not.
We'll get to that in a moment. Let's talk about 250 first of all, because it was an incredible night as well. First race for the 250 West Regional Championship. Jet Lawrence didn't have the best day earlier on and didn't win his heat either. But when it came time for the main, look out for Austin Faulkner. That was a brutal crash.
That was a massive lick that he took. What happened was, as he comes out of the gate, wheelies a little bit, he goes into the 24 of Hampshire, then loses balance and starts to fall into his teammate Cameron McAdoo and high sides on McAdoo's. You can see the frustration.
Oh
right
my
there.
goodness. I think that's 3 seasons in a row we've seen that reaction that he can't, it's total disbelief. He can't believe it's happened again, or he's been wounded and taken out. Meanwhile, Jet Lawrence took off. McAdoo was doing the chasing, and young Max Volan was in the mix. However, Lawrence was never really challenged. He took off very convincingly.
Well, he was, and look at that, just rolling along. Good race. Hampshire was just slowly picking away, and he said it after his race. This was the smartest main event that he's ever raced, that's going to be key.
It was methodical. It was methodical, wasn't it?
That's what you got to do.
Yeah, really just didn't try and do too much too soon. And Cameron McAdoo said that he made too many mistakes and that he would like to tidy up on those. So we'll see about that. Meanwhile, multiple seconds out in front, and the love-hate relationship with Angel Stadium is over. Look at the exuberance and the relief. Jet Lawrence finally victorious in A1 at a venue that had stripped him of some potential glory in years gone by. And that's why that smile is from ear to ear. Who else stood out for you on this results page?
Well, for me, Max Volan and Enzo Lopes. I think they rode extremely well. Max Volan looked great all day long, qualifying practice, his heat race, and the main event. Didn't have any oh no moments. Enzo Lopes showed us a lot of speed as well, so I was happy for Enzo Lopes against a stacked field.
I'm going to give Mitchell Oldenburg a shout out.
Him too.
He had a really good ride as well. All right, so let's hear some post-race thoughts after the first one of the year in the 250 West.
That is how you start the championship. Congratulations, Jet Lawrence. Look, it was a good ride for you. Got the whole shot, got out front, and you've won a lot of Supercrosses, you've won a lot of motocrosses and championships, yet when you go across the finish line, that's the happiest I've seen you in a long time. Are we cool with Anaheim? Are we good with this building now?
Anaheim treated me very well today. They did awesome. Just from the gate drop, we ended up having a little malfunction with the start map on the heat race. I ended up revving too much and deactivating it, so that's on my behalf, but the boys sorted it out and made sure I didn't rev it too much, got a mint start, and just kind of just rode my own race and just make sure I make the least amount of mistakes, because it's so technical, it bites you fast. But no, I want to dedicate this win to Ken Block and all of his family. They're such a lovely family. I love those guys. I got to hang out with them quite a bit in Salt Lake City, so really bummed to hear this, but dedicate that win to them. So no, thank you so much. Thanks for everyone. The team was awesome. Crowd's great. So now Anaheim, we're even, we're good. Hopefully we can just keep it like this.
Congratulations and good luck in the rest of 23.
A most fitting tribute from young Jet Lawrence there for the late Ken Block. There's a couple of things to dissect here from that first 250 West Main of this season. And the first is Austin Faulkner, a rider who has won so many 250 main events. The championship has been elusive, but he was still one of the headline riders coming into this season. And we're talking about him in past tense, like, you know, he's not a contender anymore. We don't know what the injury status is, but this puts him in a very difficult position, to say the least.
Well, you can see he comes out of the gate, gets a pretty good jump and wheelies a little bit, and he moves to the left. He tangles with R.J. Hampshire and then immediately goes into the back wheel and high sides on the back of his teammate's rear wheel, Cameron McAdoo. And when he did that, he was going so fast, he was fully committed, and the bike just started to go to the right, and it was game over. Then the handlebar tucked, and it snapped and sent him the other way, and his legs were going all over the place. And I'm telling you, that ground was really hard right there, and they're going so fast. He hit incredibly hard, and you hate to see it because you go back to 21 in Houston when we started off. He broke his collarbone in qualifying practice right out of the gate. And then we go back to Dallas last year with Jet Lawrence. He collides over the finish line jump, which really wasn't his fault. And then now this, and there's a lot going on there. He's on a contract year, and you know he's supposed to make the jump eventually, I believe, to the 450 is what I'm hearing. And then now this happens, and he's just when stuff like this happens, it's hard to believe in yourself. He's like, is it ever going to stop happening? And I feel for him.
And again, we don't have an update on the injury just yet. We did get the fact that he was awake and alert. We saw the reaction there, and the Alpine Stars medical team took good care of him and undergoing further evaluation. Let's talk more about the winner, about Jet Lawrence, because it was a very clinical race. You heard him talking to Daniel, made an error. There was a technical glitch there in the heat, but in the final there were no glitches, because this view is the view he had for the entire main event. Nobody headed Jet.
Well, if you didn't like what you saw here, you're not probably going to like what you see next weekend in Oakland, but just an absolutely superb ride. And when I watch him, I think he just was cool, calm, and collected the whole race. He just kept chipping away, and he never really took any chances. I personally didn't think that he had to. And then the lead just kept going out from Cameron McAdoo and started slowly stretching away. But what he's been able to do is really impressive at his age. And the crazy thing is there's a lot of outside noise, I believe. There's so much hype around this young gentleman, this young athlete, and he's been able to control that. And I've always said this about Jet Lawrence. His biggest issue is going to be off the bike. If he can control that, these guys are going to have their hands full.
Yeah, he is an amazing athlete. There may not have been a big arm wrestle for the lead or the ultimately the win, Daniel, but there was plenty else going on in that 250 main. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, Jet Lawrence was really impressive tonight, very mature in the main event, but it's the Austin Faulkner story for me that crushes me, and I think crushes all the fans, and obviously crushes him and his team. I was looking forward to that Lawrence-Faulkner battle, that rematch. We've been asking for it for years, and hopefully he's okay and get back in the fight like he did last year and grab a win. But Cameron McAdoo and R.J. Hampshire were super impressive as well. They were very stable. These are two guys that ride a little on the edge and can have some issues from time to time, but both won heat races, both on the podium. So I think they're in this fight, but for Jet Lawrence, he's in a situation, guys, where I believe that he can manage this thing the way he wants to. He's got a little more ceiling than the rest of the field, and if he's smart in the main events and just gets through the rest of the day and puts it all together by the main event, they're in for a tough one. I also want to give one more shout out to Enzo Lopes too. The way he rode in qualifying in his heat and in that main event, that's super impressive for the Club MX Yamaha rider. Got to remember, he's not a factory rider. He's a privateer. They have a great program there, but 5th in points last year, and to come out and be this impressive, I like that as well. So 250 racing was great, guys.
Yeah, Lopes, part of that Club MX lineup, and he had a really good heat race and then performed well in the main event as well. We will turn our attention to Oakland next week. We're going to head up the coast, and just a reminder on where you can watch what. Race Day Live on Peacock. The main program also live on Peacock, and then there'll be an encore presentation of the second round of the championship on the following day, on the 16th rather, on CNBC. So let's switch gears from 250 to 450. And oh boy, whoa boy, what a main event. Woo. Yes, the spotlight naturally goes on the champion. He got away to a really good start. Not as good as Justin Barsha or Colt Nichols, but Eli Tomac was right there doing the chasing early on.
He was. Another great start by Eli Tomac. And I thought he was going to get by the 51 of Justin Barcia early on in this race. I think that he knew, I'm thinking that Eli Tomac knew if he could get by the 51 of Barcia quick, he could set sail. And it took him a few laps, but he ended up doing that.
Oh, and Barcia just got out of rhythm, out of sync, and it spat him off track very quickly. He did come back, but not to the result that he should have got.
Check this out. Rarely do you see this. A mistake by Eli Tomac. He goes down going up that tunnel jump. Very slick. Said he got his weight a little bit too far back. Lost control. That was great heads-up riding by Kenny to not run in and clip Eli Tomac.
The crowd were highly entertained by Malcolm Stewart because at one point in time he was in the lead until this. Chase Sexton took the fight to him.
He does. Shoulder checks Malcolm Stewart in that corner. I think they hit handlebars. But then this guy, here he is, the number one, the defending champ. Eli Tomac goes up the inside. And it was just one of those races. We used to see him do it all the time when his starts weren't so well on that Kawasaki team. He would make some massive comebacks from deep in the field. This is exactly what we saw here tonight.
An error, a little hiccup there by the 23 of Chase Sexton. That cost him time. He never fell off the bike at any stage. He did have some hiccups. Looked a little wonky a couple of times. That enabled Tomac to get ahead. And then this moment for Malcolm Stewart.
Yeah, you can see Malcolm Stewart comes out of that corner. If you watch it in slow motion, we just watch it there. Comes out of that corner, and it looks like it goes to shift. And as he shifts, I certainly think the bike was in neutral. So I hate to see that from Malcolm. He was so close.
You have never seen Eli Tomac smile like he did tonight. His average finish at A1 was 10th up until the main event where he got his first A1 victory. He couldn't believe the fact that he crashed, got up, got back to the lead, and won.
Well, I got to tell you, there's not much more that this guy can do in his career other than win the SMX World Championship.
The results from A1. For the first time ever, you see Eli Tomac's name on top at this legendary season opener. That's special.
Yep, absolutely. Notables. Dylan Ferrandis, incredible comeback. He had a horrible year last year. I want everyone to keep your eye on him if he can string together some good finishes. And Cooper Webb. Now, look at the 1 and 2, okay? Those two guys have won the championship the last 4 years, so keep your eye on Cooper Webb as well.
And good run from Colt Nichols on his first ride on the Honda as well. Here's Will Christian.
Thank you, Lee. And Ricky, you called it. Look at the smile on this guy here. Eli, you've just been on a roll, and now you add to that an A1 win. An A1 win. Unbelievable. And then in the style that you did it in there, at any point did you think, you know what, I'm going to settle, this is fine? Or could you just see it? Was it eye of the tiger stuff?
I had so much going through my mind. At the beginning, I was so excited to get to the lead there, making, a pass early, and then I went up the wall there, just got a little bit too far back with my weight, washed the front end out, and I'm just like, no way this is happening again. Thankfully, no one came over the top and clipped me. Was able to get back up. Everything was straight. My bars, my lever was good. And I just, I still felt good and kept charging. I saw the front of the pack. I knew I had a chance, and I got there. And I had so many things going through my mind. I'm like, no way did I just throw this away, but so cool for us to get this. So thank you, Monster Energy Star Yamaha. First A1. Thank you.
Absolutely. Eli, before you go, you are now only 3 wins off our Ricky Carmichael there. Is that a goal that you set yourself in the season? Is that do you have to set that aside? Because, you got Ricky trembling in his boots now.
I mean, anywhere in that area is very special. So right now, I'm going to say I'm focusing race by race and see where it takes us.
It was a lot of fun to watch, Eli. Congratulations. Thanks so much.
Is it fair to say, RC, that I think I know, but is it fair to say that you're not bothered by the fact that he may overtake you? Yeah. I saw your reaction when he beat your Daytona record, and you said, hey, props to him, he deserves it. So are you expecting him to surpass your win total?
Yep, certainly, and I certainly hope he does it. I love watching history be made, and I think he has a great shot to pass James Stewart as well. That is most likely going to happen if he continues on this trend.
And that was win number 45, by the way. Ricky has 48. And James Stewart is at 50.
That's right.
Really quickly, just on reflection from that main event, a number of guys said, I need to clean that up. I need to tidy that up. I can't make that. Like we saw Chase Sexton have just a couple of mistimings. Barsha mistimed. What do these guys need to do within the next week and the next couple of days before we get to Oakland?
Yeah, guys that I think need to clean it up for sure. Obviously, the 51 of Justin Barsha. He's been in this league too long to be making those type of mistakes. This is uncharacteristic.
That was
for Eli Tomac.
random.
Yeah, that was totally random. I think he'll get that worked out. Rarely do you see that happen from Eli Tomac, especially this stage. But this guy right here, he took one mistake, turned it into another one, and essentially lost the lead because of it. He has got to stop doing that, and always comes late in the race. And this was crazy to me. 21 of Jason Anderson. I felt like, he's better than that, but he had a rough day for sure. Not sure if he was overriding or what was happening. You know what? Simple mistake right there. Got deep into the race. Ooh, that was a close one. He almost got hit by Dylan Ferrandis, but hated to see Malcolm do that. So these guys, these little mistakes, especially Chase Sexton, I'm going to be hard on him because he's made these mistakes too many times. You can't do this at this level. If you do that, you're going to get caught up and you're going to get beat and you're not going to reach your true potential. The other stuff, these guys can work out.
Maybe he learns from that because he didn't go down, though, like he did last year. So maybe he got given a little bit of a gift. He's going to learn from that, and we'll see next week in Oakland. Let's check in with Will Christian. Will, your thoughts on what was an epic 450 main?
So much to unpack, wasn't there? You took your eyes off the track for even a second, you missed something. Unbelievable. I could see as well just the atmosphere, guys, down by the podium there. Clearly the racers enjoying that too. Everybody was watching, team, everyone congratulating each other. An amazing atmosphere, as A1 always is. But thoughts there on the 450 class. Ricky, I'm going to jump on your coattails a little bit where it comes to Dylan Ferrandis. I kind of had my eye on him anyway leading into this season, but the bike change over there at Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing. What Eli did tonight, clearly it's something that's helping him. This is not holding him back. Traditionally, we see, Ricky, don't we, these bikes, there's an adjustment period. We saw Eli go through it at Kawasaki, and now his teammate Dylan Ferrandis is obviously on that new bike too. And when I spoke to the team about that and how he was adjusting with it, they said for him it was instantly something that he was happy with. They said he got on the bike and suddenly he was like, this is what I need for Supercross. He liked his outdoor setup on the Yamaha, but it wasn't quite there for Supercross, and this new bike for him instantly was. So what we saw today from him, like you said, a solid performance, tighten a few things up, change a few things for him there. What are we going to see leading forward? Because as you said, Ricky, through the broadcast there, we know that he has the potential. So it's going to be fascinating to watch that as it goes on. Cooper Webb, who knows what's going on there at KTM. What we saw tonight, a ton of orange at the top of the boards there in qualifying earlier on today. Again, bike adjustments. They have been working incredibly hard over there at Red Bull KTM, and it's starting to show. Put that together, of course, with the rest of Cooper Webb and his program being back at Old and all the work that he's putting in. It's incredibly hard to pick, isn't it? It's A1, incredibly hard to pick how the rest of the season's going, but I feel like it's probably even more confusing right now. I feel more confused in this spot after this A1 than I do normally. And normally I'll admit, yep, I'm not quite sure where the season's going. So we need a few more here to roll out, I think, before we can start to make a big picture of what's going to happen for the season.
It was great to hear Cooper Webb say afterwards, I'm back. I am back. All right, so let's have a look at the schedule for you. We know that we're off to Oakland. We head up the coast for next weekend, and then San Diego before Anaheim 2 and the first Triple Crown, the first of 3 Triple Crowns of this year. Now remember, tonight, double not only is the beginning of the Monster Energy Supercross season, but the first in the inaugural season of the Super Motocross season. Season-long Supercross, Motocross, the playoffs to crown a world champion. What do the riders think of it?
The Super Motocross World Championship, I think, is the ultimate test. Who is the best dirt bike racer in the world? Not Supercross, not motocross, it's everything. Like, who's the absolute best?
So it feels big, even though I haven't seen it yet. It feels big.
Quite frankly, it's going to be crazy. I think it's going to help us all keep pushing longer into the year.
To combine Supercross, motocross, and have playoffs, so to have both of them come together. It's been a long time coming.
It gives us an opportunity to have a playoff, just like all the other major sports, really.
There's a lot of money on the line. Everybody wants to be the first champion. it's a big one. Everybody will always remember the first one.
I've been a bad boy since I was a young lad. Didn't fly that way before I had a mustache. B-boy backpack with a bus pass. Taking off like a rocket off a launch pad. I'm going up. We going up.
Two different disciplines. Obviously, we're on the same dirt bike, but our setups are totally different suspension-wise.
Supercross being indoor, more jumpy, more technical. You're banging bars, you're close to your rival, your competitors.
A lot more bike skill, like knowing how to maneuver the bike down the backside with some of the jumps and making sure that your timing is really good and hitting your marks every single lap. There's a point where if you start hanging it out too much, you're gonna get checked. And that checked is gonna be you getting, hitting the ground.
You can have a little bit more of a ragged, on the edge style for motocross and typically get away with things a little easier.
Hammer down, get sketchy, and just enjoy it. Like it's a sufferfest more outdoors.
For the Super Motocross Championship, it's definitely going to be a test to see who could put it all together.
As long as you're into those top 20, it's kind of like it resets there for those final 3, the playoff rounds and the championship.
I've been a bad boy since I was a young lad. Didn't fly that way before I had a mustache. Boy backpack with a bus pass. Taking off like a rocket off a lunch pad.
Definitely is going to show who's who, and who the real dog is.
The purse money, everything else to come with it, the TV package, everything is more of a elite sport than it has been.
To have both of them come together like they are now, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how it goes, and I can't wait to be a part of it.
I'm going up.
And we've only just started 10 months of racing. And a quick reminder that every Thursday, every week, you can check out SMX Insider with our very own Jason Wygant, Daniel Blair. There's always a big interview, a feature guest on there. The king of the calculator, our statistical guru, Clinton Fowler, is on there, crunching the numbers and giving you stuff to look at. And that's every Thursday on supermotocross.com on the YouTube channel. Each and every Thursday. Okay, we need to look ahead to just a few days' time at Oakland. One of the big things there, before we get into any other thing, is that Mother Nature has been brutal on Northern California. The floods, these just the extreme weather. We got lucky here this weekend, but next weekend I think the precipitation, the moisture, it's going to be an immense challenge for the Dirtworks crew, just for Monster Energy Supercross to get ready for next weekend.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a survival race. And what I mean by that is these guys are going to have to preserve their motorcycles, make it through the whole race, and just get as many points as you can. I really think with, like you said, the weather's going, it's not going to be good. Now, I hope that the weather is wrong and it does turn out good. So preserve points, there's no doubt about that, and manage the race the best that you can. Now, if the track is good, there's some things that some guys need to change up for the 250 class. I think if you're RJ Hampshire, you've got to get a better start to even give yourself a chance to compete against Jet Lawrence. If you're Cameron McAdoo, you need to try to stick with Jet a little bit longer. That's for the 250. Now switching to the 450, I think if you're Dylan Ferrandis, because he's the standout, he did really well tonight. I think you got to get a better start, and you have a really good shot to at least be on the podium. Adam Cincerillo, be there. Get those laps in every single race. Jason Anderson, you got to stop making mistakes like you did today. He knows that. I don't need to tell him that.
What about Roxon? We didn't really talk much about Roxon. First ride back on a Suzuki. A lot to take from tonight. Encouraging going into Oakland?
Yeah, it was really encouraging. I mean, the guy can ride. He's extremely talented. He's a lot of fun to watch. And I think mentally he's in a great spot. So now I wonder how, if the conditions are good next weekend, how does he respond? I don't think he's going to freak out, but certainly he needs to keep the pressure on. He gets great starts, so that's a help. But an impressive ride by Ken Roxon, and he hasn't had a lot of time on that bike. I go back to that, and I think it's kind of an oversight. People don't realize that. He's only been riding it for a month.
Yeah, exactly. So I think A1 has been everything we wanted it to be, and maybe even a little bit more, and it sure feels good to get the motor racing season going, the moto season going. There are some guys who are going to need the days to recover. They're going to be a little bit battered and bruised, and there are those who will ride the wave of momentum, the celebratory wave of momentum, like Jet Lawrence and Eli Tomac. A1, packed house, and it delivered. The Super Motocross World Championship is officially underway.